Okay, so today's plan here, we are going to do a bit of back and forth. So what I mean by that is you guys are going to listen to me talk a little bit, and then we are going to go do an activity, and then you're going to listen and do an activity kind of thing, okay? So today, our musculoskeletal system. You guys should have read the chapter on the musculoskeletal system. Sierra, what is the main job of the musculoskeletal system? Sierra? Okay. Arvind, what's the main purpose of our musculoskeletal system?
Is it for like movement and like stability?
Movement, okay? Our bones give us structure. They protect organs, okay? If it wasn't for our bones, we'd be a pile of goo, okay? The muscles give us movement. That's why this guy's dancing for you. He's giving us movement, okay? When those two interact together in a specific way, we can do very coordinated things, okay? Some better than others. If you ask me to dance, it is not coordinated whatsoever, okay? So our musculoskeletal system is there to create movement and protect us, okay? So in Google Classroom, I have a document that has a bunch of different diagrams on it, okay? I would like you to open up that document for me, please. And the beginning, the part 1 of the textbook. Give me a little thumbs up reaction when you have those two things up.
What chapter in the textbook?
It is chapter 15. Chapter 15, part 1.
And what's the document called that you wanted us to open?
It's in the Google Classroom assignments. It's diagrams for 921. It should be there, hopefully. Okay. Now, like it says here, I want you to label these bones in your ISN. Okay, Tyler, sorry, it's called muscle and bones. All right. So in your ISN, you're going to have 1, clavicle. Okay. 2, what the bone is. And you're going to work all the way around to 18. Okay. So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes. It is 10:18. I want you to label those bones in your ISN. Very good. Good, good. Okay. So what you guys have done is you have given the proper anatomical terms for these bones, okay? Typically, these are not the names that you are going to call the bones, okay? So for example, number 1 is the clavicle. What would you guys normally call the clavicle? Who has another name for the clavicle?
Collarbone.
Collarbone, exactly, okay? Now, number 13, patella. Natalie, what would you normally call your patella?
Your knee.
Your kneecap, okay? So number 13, patella is your kneecap, Okay. Number 10, phalanges, and number 18, phalanges. Taylor, what would you normally call your phalanges?
Your toes and fingers.
Fingers in your toes, okay? So what I want you guys to do is I want you to try to think of normal names. Now, for example, the radius and the ulna, 6 and 7, okay? Those are your forearm. So never mind, I won't tell you to think about it. We're just gonna go through them right now, okay? So 6 and 7 are normally called your forearm. In this class, we are going to be using the proper anatomical terms, okay? I just want you to be aware of these terms so that when I am talking in anatomical terms, you can think to yourself, oh, he said the ulna. I know that's in the forearm, okay? I believe number 2 is the scapula. That is your shoulder blade. Scapula is your shoulder blade. Number 9 is your metacarpals. Metacarpals, that is your hand. And number 17, your metatarsals, is your foot. Okay. So are there any questions about what 1 through 18 are? Did we get those all labeled? Any questions? Okay. So now we have a basic idea of where the different bones are. Okay. But now there are different kinds of bone. They're not all the same thing. Okay. Your flat bones, and this, you guys should write these down and I will give you definitions and we're going to use this information. Okay. Flat bone. Okay. An example is your frontal bone. Flat bones are typically thin and they protect organs. Okay. That is their main purpose. They are there to protect organs. Sutural bone, we're not really going to talk much about, but this is the bone where the plates in your skull come together. Okay, that's sutural bone. That's really all we're going to say about it. Short bone. Short bones are typically the same width as they're basically a cube. Okay, so their width, height, and their depth are all the same. Okay, they are typically going to be a jointed bone. Well, that doesn't really make sense. They are going to be smaller bones that are going to make up a big joint. Okay, so your carpals, for example, are your wrist. Okay, so you have a lot of bones there, but they make up your one wrist joint. Okay. Sesamoid bones are bones that are floating in tendon, okay? And they are there for a mechanical advantage. They help to make your muscles a little bit stronger and function a little bit better, okay? So the big one here is the patella. You also have irregular bone. These bones are a odd shape. Okay, so if you think about it, there's not really a whole lot of bones that have a piece here with all these little parts coming off of it, okay? But an irregular bone has an odd shape to it. Okay? And then you have a long bone, which is longer than it is wide. Okay? These guys are usually very, very strong. So what I want you to do, knowing these classifications, go back to these bones that you just labeled and classify them. Are they long bones, short bones, irregular, or flat? Okay. And I want you to just do 1 through 18. I do not want you to do all of these little guys that are labeled as well. Okay. So just do 1 through 18 and classify them as the types of bones. Okay. I will give you about 5 to 10 minutes to do that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to name a bone and I'm going to call somebody and you're going to tell me what kind of bone it is. Okay. Let's go with Rachel. What is the humerus?
I put a long bone.
Long bone. Correct. Good. Fatima, what are the tarsal bones?
I'm not sure.
If you said it, Fatima, I barely heard you. Can you repeat it?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Okay. Sam, what did you put for the tarsal bones?
I didn't get that far.
Okay. Who wants to tell me what the short, well, there you go. What the tarsal bones are?
Is it a short bone?
Yes, they are short bones. Okay. Your tarsals are the back portion of your foot and your ankle. Okay. Adam, what'd you put for the ribs?
I put irregular.
Irregular. Okay. Is that what everybody put? Somebody put something different.
I put flat bone.
Flat. Okay.
I said long bone.
Long. Okay. Now I could see why you guys would put all three. Okay. Long, they are longer than they are wide. Technically, they would be wider than they are long. Okay. They are skinny and they protect organs. So these are ones that are oftentimes argued over as to what type of bone. But the most common way they are categorized is by a flat bone because they are protecting organs. Okay. All right. So now we have muscles. Okay. These are the three main types of muscles in your body. Okay. Number one here is skeletal muscle. Okay. Or striated muscle. Striated meaning stripes. Okay. And the main purpose of this muscle is to create movement. And these are voluntary, meaning you have to think about it or subconsciously think about it for them to do something. Okay. So your arm isn't just going to randomly twitch and contract in order to have your arm move. You have to want that to happen. Okay. The next muscle the next two, I want you guys to look at your textbook. Okay. Let me guide you a little bit here. Give you a page number. Hold on 1 second. Page 50, 613. So I believe this is in part 2 of chapter 15. Go ahead and open that. Okay. And go ahead and give me a thumbs up when you have your textbook open to page 113 and 114 is where we're gonna find this information. And you got 2, 3. Next part, joining the celebration. I like it. Elizabeth, good. 613 and 614 is the page that we are looking for. That should be in part 2 of your textbook. Okay. So muscle type 2 here is what, Drew?
I'm not sure.
Flip the page, go to 14. Blank muscle, quotations or parenthesis 2.
I'm not seeing it. I don't know.
Okay, are you on page 614?
Yeah.
Okay, so you see the figure that has all the different muscles there, and then it
Yeah.
starts with the writing in bold.
Yeah.
What's the first word there?
Smooth muscle.
Smooth muscle, okay? So number 2 is smooth muscle. Smooth muscle is going to be lining of organs. It's going to move things through your organs, okay? Your organ itself is not a muscle. It can't move anything. It has to be surrounded by a muscle in order for it to do something for us, okay? So smooth muscle is typically going to be around your organs. Or muscle type 3 there then would be what, Reagan?
Cardiac.
Cardiac muscle, okay? Cardiac muscle and smooth muscle are both involuntary, okay? Meaning I don't have to subconsciously think about beating my heart. It is going to do, or excuse me, involuntary, it is going to do that for me, okay? I don't have to sit here and say, squeeze the muscle around my stomach, squeeze the muscle around my stomach. I want to move the food out of my stomach. It automatically does that for us, okay? Now, we are going to focus mostly on skeletal muscle, okay? What I want you to do in your notes, I am going to get some colors going here. I want you to do a rough drawing of this, okay? This is a muscle contraction theory. So what I mean by a rough drawing is this, okay? And it's even rougher when you are doing this with the mouse, okay? Then I'm going to change colors. Hopefully you can change colors. A little ball there. That's a horrible looking ball. There we go. Okay. So in your notes, you should all be drawing what I am attempting to draw here. Whee. That was a bad one. Okay. So once you have something kind of sort of like that, let me know with a thumbs up or some sort of reaction. Whee. Okay. Couple of you got it done. Oh, Reagan, if you're done, I know it now. I honestly don't quite know how to do the thumbs up. It's a reaction, and it's supposed to be down by where you mute and unmute, I believe. Okay. So what we have here is the myosin-actin sliding filament contraction, okay? These red guys are the myosin. The blue are the actin, okay? So we're not going to get into all the chemical mediators and everything that create a contraction. But what happens is your body sends a nerve impulse. You say, I want to flex my bicep. A nerve impulse is going to come down and it's going to start a chemical reaction in the cell. So what's going to happen is these myosin heads are going to come and attach to the actin filaments, okay? Once that happens, they then can pull these filaments together, okay? So these myosin are actively pulling the actin filaments together. Okay, so I'm gonna try to draw this middle phase for you, okay? And because my art skills are slow, I'm gonna shrink my picture, okay? So what I want you to do now in your notes is I want you to draw the myosin heads attaching to the actin filaments. Okay. So then, once they attach, the myosin heads can pull these actin filaments together, okay? So that's the difference here between your relaxed stage and your contracted stage. These filaments now have been pulled closer together. Okay? Okay. And then there's the finished drawing in there. So go ahead and finish drawing all three of these stages for me. Okay. Those are some pretty rough drawings on the computer, but it gets the point across. Okay. When you have all three of those drawn, give me a reaction of some kind. Let me wait for a couple more reactions to pop up before I get moving here. Don't want to go too quick. Okay, so now that I led you to this drawing, there is an inaccuracy here, okay? Not all of the myosin heads can attach at the same time. If that happened, nobody would be able to pull, okay? So we would flex and then we would be stuck. So what happens is this passes along. Think of a fire brigade where they pass the bucket along. This is what was going to happen with the myosin. They're going to pull and pass along the actin filament, okay? So when your muscles contract, it's an all or nothing. That doesn't mean you can't give it a full effort, because we know that we don't have to flex as hard as we can every single time, but all of the heads will be active at the same time, okay? So now that we know how a muscle contracts, I have this on your diagram handout, okay? And I want you to label these muscles in your ISN, okay? Before you go, this is all we are doing today, okay? You should have labeled most of the diagrams on that form already. I want you to put a title above each one so that I don't get 1 through 18 and then 1 through 10 and then 1 through, that just doesn't tell me which one is which. And when you go to study, it's going to be hard to look back, okay? So there are a couple of diagrams on that form that we did not talk about, and we won't today, but we will on Wednesday, okay? I want you to label all the diagrams on that Google Doc. Then, after you have labeled the muscles, I want you to look up the primary action of each muscle that you labeled, okay? When you're done with that, take a picture and turn it into Google Classroom for today's assignment. Are there any questions as to what you need to get completed for today? Okay, so then I will say you guys can go ahead and leave the meeting. You don't need to come back. When you're done with that assignment, turn it in. It is due tomorrow before midnight, okay? Go ahead and have a good day. If you have questions, feel free to come back and ask. Thanks, guys.